after a tough loss and one where I had to abuse a whole bag of Chewy Chips Ahoy, probably not the healthiest decision I've made in my life. The sun came up on Sunday and the sun came up on today. But you know what? You're rocking and rolling with the fun bunch. John Ivory, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith. Touchdown, Alabama Magazine, in my own words, coming to you live from the Magic City of Birmingham, streaming you the show on YouTube. And speaking of a channel, we want you guys to, speaking of the channel, give a thumbs up on the show, give a like on the show, hit that subscribe button, turn all of those notifications on, hit that little bell, so that way you can have all the news, notes, and analysis, entertainment on your favorite program, that being your Crimson Tide. We also got you covered on Facebook and Twitter as well. We have a lot to get into tonight, and I want you, the fans, I want Tide Nation ringing those phone lines up. If you're calling to laugh, if you're calling to cry, if you're calling to vent, if you're calling to complain, whatever you are calling to do this evening, we want to hear from you. And you know the number to dial, 205-448-1358. Number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Alabama's chances of still getting into that college football playoff very much alive, despite the loss at Cal Field, despite Alabama falling 4 spots in the poll from number 1 to number 5. A little bit later on in the show, we'll be joined live by my man Mike McCoy, the founder of Maximum Performance Institute out of Bessemer. He also former wide receiver for the Crimson Tide, played from 2006 to 2009, a huge leader on that 09 BCS National Championship team. He has some thoughts, he has some opinions, and a perspective on what he feels like is the problem for this particular team. The daily super chat goes $75. Daily super chat goal. Appreciate the love coming from all of you. But we get into now topic number 1 here of the conversation, and to me, Alabama football and Thanksgiving share a similar theme, right? During Thanksgiving time, there are particular dishes, there are specific foods, there are specific meals, if you will, that are foundational, that are staples of Thanksgiving. It doesn't matter if you're going to your mom's house, your grandmother's house, your auntie's house. It don't really matter. You go to somebody's house, you are expecting to see some dressing with or without cranberry sauce. You are expecting to see some mashed potatoes, some macaroni and cheese, some ham or turkey, a little casserole, something green, whether it's green beans, collard greens, lima beans. These are all sort of staples. And you are expecting to see these foundational requirements at the dinner table. And if you do not see these, you're like, Auntie Baby, what the heck going on here? Grandma Kate, like, where the food at? Like, where the food at? Hey, I came here for a Thanksgiving meal. It don't feel like no Thanksgiving over here. I don't see no dressing. I don't see no yams. I don't see no lima beans. I don't see no ham and turkey. What's going on? What is going on? Where the food at? Like, if the food is not on the table, you are equating this with it not being a good Thanksgiving. And it's the same thing with Alabama football. There are certain requirements, there are certain staples and foundations when you look at Crimson Tide football. And one of the biggest foundations is being able to run the football whenever it needs to, especially in the red zone. This was a foundation of the program, whether it was Wallace Wade coaching, Frank Thomas, Paul Bryant, Ray Perkins, Bill Curry, Gene Stallings, even down to DuBose, Franchione, Mike Shula, Hewlett Saban. It's always been a staple of the program, being able to run the football down the opponent's throat whenever you felt like doing it, especially in the red zone. But apparently, it seems like Bill O'Brien has not gotten the memo yet. Bill O'Brien has not read the minutes yet. He's not read the notes. He's not read the agenda plan when it comes down to Crimson Tide football, because for the second time, he has neglected the run game, neglected Brian Robinson in critical situations in the red zone. We saw this against Florida in the first quarter. Alabama ran the ball pretty well, but then it gets away from the run game, and that almost led to Alabama slipping. against the Gators down there at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Now, the play calling from Bill O'Brien, egregiously leaving the run game, has led to a loss against Texas A&M. And I go back to this. There was a point in the third quarter where Bama's defense was improving a little bit. It was getting stops. It was getting off the field on third down. And you kept hearing the CBS commentary kept saying, A&M's tired. Their front's tired. They're getting leery. They suck and win. They hand on their hips. They getting tired. Oh, Jesus, A&M tired. They tired. When you keep hearing that, that means pound, 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 and pound more. If you are seeing that the run game is working, and if you are hearing from the CBS telecast several times, about how the A&M front is tired, you run the football right at it. Brian Robinson was dominating that group up front. And this is a group that's got dudes that will play in the NFL. When you look at Michael Clemens, Jaden Peavy, DeMarvin Leal, I mean, they got guys all over that front that will play at the next level. And B-Rob was wearing them guys down, catching passes out the backfield. In the third quarter, Alabama was down 31-24. There were two situations Alabama in the red area. If it runs the ball with B-Rob, it scores on at least one of those two, if not both, and wins the football game. You got to trust your back. I don't know why O'Brien just felt like when you get down to the red zone that you forget you have a 6'1", 225-pound running back. I don't understand when you get in the red zone, did B-Rob just vanish in the thin air? When you get in the red zone, did you have selective amnesia? I mean, let me know something. When you get down in the red zone, did you forget that Brian Robinson was conceived? I mean, did you get that actually happened, Bill O'Brien? Because he's back there in the backfield, 6'1", 225, 147 yards rushing, averaged 6 yards per carry, even caught 4 passes for 60 yards. Oh, and by the way, did I not mention in the CBS telecast, they kept saying, A&M tired. A&M tired. They wearing out the front line. Tired. The second win. You got to run the football. Coach Saban talked about it today that he felt like Alabama did not challenge A&M enough running the football. Brian Robinson said today, I feel confident in my abilities to run the football in the red zone. I feel confident with the offensive lineman I got in front of me running the football in the red zone. I believe we could pick up a yard or more than a yard. My goodness, he was averaging 6 yards per carry. Back-to-back 100-yard games for B-Rob, but in the most critical situations in the game, O'Brien going away from the rushing attack. This is a staple of Alabama football. And I understand trying to get Bryce Young's numbers up for the Heisman. I get it. Trying to get Bryce Young's numbers up for the coveted Bronze Award. But you do not sacrifice a foundation. You don't sacrifice a staple. You don't sacrifice what makes Alabama football in a moment where it is working and trying to get numbers up for Bryce Young. Bryce Young will get his, and he played well in the game. But when you look at this as a staple of the tie, it's about hat on a hat running the ball. And you look at two of your Heisman winners in program, 2 of your 3 Heisman winners in school history, running backs, ran the football. You look at last year, what Steve Sarkisian was able to do with Najee Harris, run the football. I mean, O'Brien basically gave Brian Robinson the Marshawn Lynch treatment that was done by Pete Carroll. Y'all remember the 2015 Super Bowl off the 2014 season? Yeah, y'all remember that. And it's Seahawks, Patriots. You got the ball on the 1-foot line, Pete Carroll. On the 1-foot line. And you got a mean, nasty, aggressive, thuggish dude eating Skittles in your backfield. He's called beast mode for a reason. You have him in the backfield. All you got to do, hand the ball. He gets 1 yard. If Marshawn Lynch cannot give you 1 yard, you live and die off that, Pete Carroll. You go, you know what? He couldn't get a yard. We will live to fight another day. We gave it to our best player. It didn't happen. But the fact that Pete Carroll didn't even give Marshawn a chance. He sits there and calls a pass play, spread, 1 foot line. It gets picked off by Malcolm Butler. The Patriots win 28-24. And to this day, that play haunts Pete Carroll. It's the same thing with Bill O'Brien. If your offensive line cannot block for Brian Robinson to get you 1 yard, that's fine. You take your cap off to A&M's defense. But the fact that you did not even sniff in Brian Robinson's direction on both of those red zone attempts, at least give the brother a chance to run the ball. At least put the ball in his chest and let him go. Let him run. Let him get those yards. Egregious play call. And the whole time during the game, when you got Devontae Smith on Twitter going, run the bleep ball. And then you've got Mark Ingram on Twitter going, are you serious? Coach had them throw the ball 3 times in the red zone? Wouldn't have been me doing that. And then you got Reggie Ragland going, what they doing? They ain't running the ball. And then you've got Jalen Waddle, feed B-Rob. You got all of these former players being highly vocal, being highly expressive on Twitter, trying to understand what is Bill O'Brien trying to concoct here. You got a 6'1", 225-pound back. Give him the football. Run the football. Don't overcomplicate stuff. This is the main reason why he does not need to be in the booth. His butt need to be on the field, getting chewed out by Nick Saban like everybody else. Get Bill O'Brien out that booth. Put that man on the field. Let him get the same attention that every other assistant coach is getting for the Crimson Tide. Because that was egregious. I mean, I get it. You want to run Bryce's numbers. I understand that. But just like Thanksgiving, y'all go over to your folks' house, that dressing ain't on the table, that them greens ain't on the table, that mac and cheese ain't on the table, somebody cutting up. And it's the same thing for Bama football. You're not able to run the ball, or you're seeing that the play calling is neglecting the run game. That's why you had a lot of U.S. fans on Twitter cutting up at Bill O'Brien. Why? He went away from the foundation of what Alabama football is, part of the big reason as to why Tide suffered a loss there against Texas A&M. But we go to our first break here on the show. I'll touch that down. Just getting started. Just getting your chest warm here, and apparently my chest also. When we get back in from the break, we go to the phone lines to take your calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your chats, your interactions. Ring those phone lines. We'll be with you guys after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up.
I'm Malachi Moore. You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith on Touchdown Alabama YouTube channel.
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
All right, people, I'm calm now. We're back into the action from the break of a number one forum for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Appreciate everybody checking us out here on the show. Guys, shout out my man, Big Bill. Bill from New York, that $5 donation starting us off here on the Super Chats. Remember, people, daily Super Chat goal, $75 daily Super Chat goal. Appreciate the love from all of you. But right now, we go to the phone lines to take your calls. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. Number to call in right there, 205-448-1358. We take a call right here. You're live on the show on a Monday. How we feeling? What's going on? State your name and where you calling from.
Stephen, you better get your ear away from that phone now. I'm hot. I'm hot tonight. This is the president. Wait a minute now. Listen. I'm not writing another damn check to Alabama till they get rid of Pete Golding. Not one more dollar I'm going to send down there. Not one. When you play in a damn Toy Bowl school, at Vanderbilt's got better statistics than their damn quarterback does, and you go out on the field and they got 2 losses, and we got our defensive players running over one another, I thought they was playing pinball. What in the hell is going on?
Good point there, Wade. I mean, good point. It's 3 years of suspect defense. Enough is enough. At some point, enough is enough. And I understand so many people would say, but Stephen, the game's changing. Miss me with that. If Kirby Smart is down there at Georgia kicking butt and taking names, if Kirby Smart's down there at Georgia with that attacking defense and they shutting people out, people don't realize Kirby Smart has dudes that have the mentality of, I'm going to break in your house, steal your wife and your kids. That's the mentality that Kirby Smart players have on defense, and it comes from the head coach because Kirby Smart has that mentality. So if Georgia's down there playing aggressive defense, if defense still matters at Georgia, why is it not mattering at the University of Alabama, the school that has the slogan where legends are made?
We have not had a defense since 2015. Y'all can argue with me, call me a fool. You can call me what you want to. I don't care. You don't just don't call me late for supper. We have not had a defense since 2015. Am I right or wrong? Is somebody going to admit this?
Well, I'll say this way, we've not had Bama's not had a defense since 2017. I'll give 2016 and 17 theirs.
This team is just like the 2010 team. It's got too many attitudes on it. Something's wrong. Something's wrong somewhere. It's not gelling. Something's wrong. When you done 7 games into a schedule and you don't know how to play defense, I don't care if you're a high school team or a college team, pro team, what you are. Something's going wrong somewhere. Either the coach doesn't have as much talent as you think he does, or the coach just ain't worth 15 cents, or the defensive schemes are so hard they don't understand them. All you got to break it down just some simple terms of what they got to understand. We had people lined up, not even covering people. There's no excuse for that. I'm sorry. I played enough football and I know better than that. But anyway, I got to get off here. I got to take my blood pressure medicine. Hello to everybody. Y'all let them have it tonight. I want to hear it. I'm going to get out of here. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye, everyone.
Appreciate Waylon coming in hot on a Monday. Woo! Waylon coming in hot, starting us off here on the show. We continue with the calls. You are live on the show. What's going on? How you feeling? State your name, where you calling from. This is a safe space for you.
Kevin, Dallas, Georgia. How you doing this evening, Stephen?
Doing fantastic, man, and yourself.
I'm doing great. I just first, before I go into my soliloquy, I just want to say I want to thank you, Stephen, as far as for your post game the other night. It was straight with no chasing. That was greatly appreciated. But I have to also, I've been trying to over these past few weeks to be Austria. I was trying to be that conscientious objector when I was listening to some of the Alabama fans as far as, unfortunately, drinking Crimson Kool-Aid. And what I mean by that, just in this respect, I normally don't call out names and numbers, but I'm going to do that this evening, Stephen. And that's in reference to, on the D-line, the last time that I've seen DJ Dale do anything aggressive on a football field is when he got down on one knee at the A-Day game and proposed to his girlfriend. I need to see a little bit more. I need to see that same aggressiveness as far as on the field from here on out. Chris Owens, I thought, came into this season as a center, not as a right tackle.
Right.
It was pretty much a turnstile at right tackle the other night. Stephen, one thing these young men, I hope that they're aware of, as far as a little advertised rule that started, I think it came out Thursday or Friday, in reference to 7 more scholarships being a part of this 2021-22 class. So instead of it being 25 freshmen coming in next year, it's going to be 32 freshmen coming in. And by that being the case, if there aren't changes starting this weekend, everyone is on the clock starting now, Stephen.
I agree.
O-line, D-line, everybody's on the clock now.
I agree. I agree with you, man.
Pardon me for one other thing, Stephen, and I'm going to be quiet. I don't want to see anything else about Pro Football Focus, because obviously those Pro Football Focus grades are on a scale and they're skewed. Because DeMarco Hellams, I haven't seen him do anything aggressive since the doggone champion. I'll take that back. The semifinal game last year against Notre Dame. Josh Jobe, if you throw it up in the air, he's going to grab somebody. He'll grab you, he'll grab John, he'll grab me. I don't want to see anything about Pro Football Focus until we get to the draft. No more. No more PFF vote. No more PFF grades, because obviously we have not seen them this year, Stephen. I'm quiet.
Good points right there from my man calling out of Georgia. Great points right there. Changes do need to be made. The question will be, how badly does Coach Saban want these changes made, as he is the head of this team? So it comes down to him being the head coach, being the head man. We go to a call right here. You are live on the show. What's going on? How you feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Johnson from Piedmont, Alabama. I was calling to see your thoughts on Pete Golden. I know a couple of other callers talked about him, but the last couple of years he's done nothing with the superstars we have, and the schemes and everything as far as the defense and our offensive line. Like, our offensive line looked like crap, and I'm agreeing with you on your statement as far as B-Rob not getting his touches. So that's all I got to say.
Well, to address your first thought, my man, there on Pete Golden, I'll be first to admit this. I bite the bullet on this one. I completely whiffed on this one. When Golden came in 2019, loved the energy that he brought, loved the excitement that he brought, but it's just something about his message is not clicking. It's not getting through. The players are not playing with confidence. Something that he is doing is not registering with these guys. And once again, people go back to, but Stephen, the game's changed. It's offense. Yes, the game has changed, but that does not mean people have done away completely with defense. I go back to Georgia. They are bought in on Kirby Smart. I mean, this dude is emotionally vested, psychologically vested, physically vested, mentally vetted in that defense. That team has 15 dudes, 10 on that defensive line that will play in the NFL. So if there's a team in the SEC that's shutting teams out and shutting teams down, Alabama has got to be able to make those improvements. Appreciate that call right there. We take our next call. You are live on the show on a Monday. What's going on? How you feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
What's going on, Steve, man? It's Sam Foster, man. I'm coming out of Dallas, Texas, man. Roll Tide all day, man. What's going on?
Appreciate it, Sam, man. How you feeling, man?
I'm doing good, Steve. I just got a quick question for you, Steve. And I know you're a big stat guy. Okay, now I'm confused. You run 3 pass plays in a row. You have your running back B-Rob that's averaging 6+ yards a carry. 6+ yards a carry. I don't understand how you have to throw the ball that many times when we're originally a run-first football team. Now, I understood, Stephen, when they said, don't be too hard on, don't be too hard on. No, forget that, Steve, forget that. We got to be too hard on. Why? Because you brought this man in, Bill O'Brien, to run this offense. And I agree with you, Steve. You got to get him out the box. You got to get him down on the field. so he can smell the team, so he can understand what's going on, man. Because up there in that box, when he eating all them sunflower seeds and spinning around and trying to be the head coach from the box, he got to come out the box, man. He got to get down on the field, man. Because that's uncalled for. He got to see what's going on. Like you said earlier, he might need to get that fine-tuning chewing out by Nick Saban, sir. I'm sorry. It's unexcusable. Now, yeah, I will agree. At some point, the team need to grow up. They need to find their own identity. But at the same time, man, you got 4 and 5-star athletes on that field, man. And like somebody just said, either they not getting the point across to these players, or these players are not who we think they are. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate the call there from Sam. Sam, give us his thoughts right there. My man out of Texas continuing with the call lines here. We take a call now. You're live on the show here on a Monday. What's going on? How you feeling? State your name and where you're calling from. This is a safe space for you.
Steven, this Senator Hines, Coach Smook not here tonight. I got something to say.
Oh, man. Smook not here? Oh, man.
Nah, this Senator from Phoenix City, and every Alabama fan that's in here talking about the coaching, the play calling, Bill O'Brien, yeah, questionable in the second half. We needed that second inside the 5. We needed that drive. We needed that score. There is no reason why we should be passing there. But you got to understand what happened leading up to that. Bill O'Brien was calling a game where receivers were getting the ball put in their freaking hands and dropping wide open passes. Receivers were dropping 40-30% contested balls. You know, not 50-50 balls, 40-30% contested. Bryce Young was putting the ball on the money. And the right side of our offensive line was horrible, and he was still putting the ball on the money. You got 11 drop passes that game. 4 of them by, and I told y'all, my personal belief, and I said it on the line, Steve. I said Mechie wasn't I didn't believe Mechie could be a number 1 receiver. And Willie's 351. No, I said it. I said he couldn't be no premier receiver. I said he's a solid number 2 when somebody else is gaining all the attention. That's why he thrived when Smitty was there. That's why he thrived when before Waddle got hurt, because he had people in front of him that allowed him to work in more open space. But when you're the focus of the offense, it's easy to scheme and bracket you as a receiver. That's why we see James Williams get more opportunities. That's why you should see Jaleel Billingsley getting more opportunities. That's why Cam Latu was capitalizing early in the season when he was getting his fair share of pass attempts. So we can't put it on the play calling when players is dropping balls or Chris Owens is getting beat one-on-one on the edge. That to me, honestly, that's personnel. I don't think the offensive coordinator necessarily handles personnel when we're talking about play calling. I think everybody practices, gets the same amount of reps, the same type of reps, and the personnel grouping is all down at positional level. So you can't blame that on Bill O'Brien. And then for the defense, it's not on Pete Golden. I don't know if y'all saw it, the first play when Texas A&M came out and they had motion to the running back to the backfield. And I said, I screened it out and I put it in the chat. I said, watch how they adjust to the wheel route. They were trying to confuse us. They were either going to release the tight end to the pop route up the seam, or they were trying to make the inside linebacker that was supposed to cover get confused on the tight end pop or the running back swing wheel route. And Pete Golden said, bump it. We're not going to try to send pressure when we see that motion now. We're going to just drop back. Hey, inside leverage, you maintain leverage. Outside, you maintain outside. We'll play it in between. And it was effective. When players make tackles, when Pete calls a blitz and sends both his inside linebackers and Christian Harris blows up a hole and opens it up for Toa, and he gets back there and misses 2 tackles on the same play, that's not coaching, fellas. So y'all could stop all that whining about it being coaching. Yeah, we could see a little bit more energy. We could see a little bit more get in guys' faces, but you can't blame that game. That game, Texas A&M game, us losing that game, that's pure effort. That's pure lack of focus from the players. DeMarco Hellens and Josh Jobe on the same side, you might as well just not put anybody over there. You might as well not put nobody over there and just let the receiver, because Jobe going to give a 9-yard cushion on the slant, and then he going to get burnt on the freaking double moves every time. He going to have to hold. And DeMarco Hellens, I don't know if he think he playing strong outside linebacker or defensive end, but that boy keep his eyes in the backfield and can never cover over top. And it just bothers me because you got guys like Christian Story that's smart. You know, they getting all these accolades about being smart in the classroom, smart in the film room. You got guys like Kool-Aid McKinstry. I mean, losing Malachi Moore hurt, but doggone it, man. Let's rotate these young guys in, you know. So it's not necessarily coaching and scheme to me. It's more of the personnel grouping, the type of attitude that you're allowing the players to accept. And then at the end of the day, Steven, players got to make plays. Coaches can't make the plays. Players got to make the plays. And that's all I got to say, man. We could keep whining about how we got out-coached. It ain't about being out-coached. We got outplayed. We got outplayed. Simple as that. Simple as that. And the second half was perfect proof of that coming out. When those guys did their assignment, we shut it down. We shut it down, but then they got loose again. Toa missed so many tackles. Oh my God, Steven. If I don't see Moody on the field next game, I'm gonna start having questions about, you know, some of these position coaches that we got down there at Bama. But other than that, Steven, I feel like we're gonna turn it around. Everybody knows that one-loss saving team is the most dangerous thing in college football. Roll Tide, everybody in the chat. Blue Ridge gang. TDA, we the best. We out here.
Senator Hines, a.k.a. Coach Smook, there with his thoughts from the matchup between Alabama and Texas A&M on last week. We continue with before we go back to the calls, we got some super chats to get to. So, John Ivory, we getting the horn ready right now because Gucci Tide strolls in here with that $10 donation. Appreciate the love there from Gucci Tide. Behind him, we've got, let's see, behind Gucci Tide here, we've got here Steins here. Steins with that $4.99 donation in there. Appreciate the love there from Steins. And behind him, we got Willie351 with that $7.77 in the super chats as well. Appreciate all the love from each and every last one of you guys showing us here on the show here on a Monday. Going to go to a quick topic. And that quick topic being, the Crimson Tide had 5 players that the coaching staff selected for Player of the Week, despite the loss there against Texas A&M. Those players being offensively, Brian Robinson Jr. and Jamison Williams. Defensively, it was DJ Dale on defense. And then on special teams, we're looking at Will Reichert and Ja'Cory Brooks, the freshman, Ja'Cory Brooks, who blocked a punt that was recovered by King Wakuda for a touchdown. So Brian Robinson, Jamison Williams, DJ Dale, Ja'Cory Brooks, and Will Reichert were all named Players of the Week, those 5, despite the loss to A&M. For all the callers still in the queue, hold on to the line. We'll be back to you after being able to sit down with my man Mike McCoy. We'll be back to you after this segment here. So we're going to go to break right now. We come back, we sit down with former Alabama wide receiver Mike McCoy, big leader on that 2009 BCS title team, to get his perspective on this Alabama roster right after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
Appreciate everybody in that first call segment, getting your thoughts, getting your ideas, letting the passion flow. This is what we do here on In My Own Words, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. We talk Tide football. We have a conversation surrounding Crimson Tide football. But right now, we go to the phone lines too. We go to the In My Own Words hotline. We pick up a good friend of mine, the big homie right here. This is the founder of Maximum Performance Institute out of Birmingham, one of the big dogs from that 2009 BCS National Championship team. I'm talking about none other than my man Mike McCoy, who is in the building. Big Mike, what's going on, man?
What's going on, man? I appreciate the wonderful and kind words, brother.
We got Mike McCoy here on the show, founder of Maximum Performance Institute, also 2009 national champion for the Crimson Tide. So, Mike, just as a former player, and you're watching this game from different breakdowns, different substitutional packages, different personnel groupings, you have a different mind when you watch a football game versus a lot of people. So watching that matchup against Texas A&M over the weekend, what were some of the things that kind of maybe troubled you as a former player?
Energy and effort. Them two words, man. Energy and effort. Just like that was one of the things that we kind of were brought up on, just energy, man. Them boys look like they dead over there. No passion, no it's not the same. And I don't know if it's because, you at Alabama, you expect, you put on a uniform, people just going to lay down. You got an X on your back, man, no matter what. You got a target on your chest. And me personally, I really just don't. I think they got too many nice guys on the field, man. They ain't got no dog in them. None. I ain't seen a bite yet. Got a couple playmakers, but, we can blame it on the play calling all day long. But if you execute, I don't care what the coach calls. You execute, you're going to get some positive yards no matter what. So that's my biggest thing from it. And I just think energy and effort, those are the two key things I don't think that we had Saturday night. And I ain't seen it all year, really in the last 2 years.
So you mentioned, Mike, Bama's got some playmakers, especially on defense. It's got a Will Anderson who wants football. It's got a Malachi Moore who wants football. But you played on teams, Mike, where you had guys that had a couple of screws missing. You had some rough riders, some roughnecks, some guys that said, some got to give. Like you had some stone cold killers when you look at guys like Hightower and Rolando McClain and Eric Anders, Terrence Cody. I mean, the list goes on, the number of guys that you played with. So kind of, what is the importance of having that mixture of some cool guys, but also those guys where when that switch is flipped, like you don't want to mess with them dudes?
They set the tone, man. You need guys like that, man. Dudes who, I ain't trying to say that you got to come from a low poverty area or low circumstance, but when a kid come from where we come from, grew up where we come from, and knowing football that's your only way out, bro, you gonna hit that field running differently every day. When you got a mama light bill due, or you ain't got a pot to pee in or a tree to pee on, you gonna hit that field a little bit different. See, the thing is, and it could just be a generational thing, man. Everybody's telling these kids how good they are before they even get to college, bro. And you got people rating these kids 5 stars before they even. Who rating these guys? Who rating them? If the evaluation is thrown out the window, give me them 3 stars and them 4 stars, the kids that got chips on their shoulder, man. The boys who got a point to prove. I don't want no prima donnas. I want somebody who coming to work, a blue-collar worker. That's the difference.
If you're just tuning into the show here on a Monday, we got my man Mike McCoy on the phone lines, founder of Maximum Performance Institute out of Bessemer, 2009 BCS national champion for the Crimson Tide at wide receiver. So, Mike, I know you mentioned, the play calling is the play calling, but you got to execute regardless. As you look at Alabama's defensive coordinator, Pete Golding, right now, is there something that he's missing? Is he the guy to you? Does Alabama need to make some changes there in terms of who's calling the defense? Just what's your assessment? You being a former player, you played under Kirby Smart. What's your assessment of Pete Golding?
My question would be, are the guys bought in? That's going to be the biggest thing. And I think there's a reason why we got the biggest turnover rate than anything. Coach Saban needs the guys that were invested in the program. The Burton Burns, the Coach Williams, the Scott Cochran that were on the sideline. People talk about injury, but, them were workloads. Those were bound to happen. It's just what it was. But you saw the energy. You saw guys. Freddie Roach, in my opinion, should be doing a play calling. That's just me. Hey, but who am I? I'm just a guy. I just think because when you played and you've been where these kids are trying to go, and you know what it looks like looking down the barrel of that gun, come on, man. Them kids are going to receive you a lot better, man. But I ain't trying to be funny, but if you don't – I say representation is everything. And it's not color. We're talking about culture. If you don't come from that type of culture and you ain't played on that high level, how are you going to tell me to do something?
So moving forward here, Mike. Absolutely. So last quick one here to Mike McCoy. We're joined here by McCoy, founder of Maximum Performance Institute, 2009 BCS national champion. So Alabama's got Mississippi State this week. They know the drill. You got to win out the rest of the schedule, try to make it to the SEC championship and trying to get to this playoff. But in your opinion, Mike, what needs to happen starting this week, whether it's practice, whether it's film room, it don't matter. What needs to happen starting this week?
Well, I don't think – one thing about Coach Saban, he's a mastermind. And them losing, I think, was good for them. It let them know, hey, man, you're not the only ones who can play football. I think it was a wake-up call. So I don't think the adjustments that they need to make are the players. Like the last caller said, who you had on I didn't catch who it was, but the personnel got to change. What packages you got in? You got to know the strengths and weaknesses of your players. And we playing against a passing team this week. Are you going to drop 8? Or are you going to blitz the whole game? That's the question. Are you going to make them run the ball? That's the question. That needs to be the deciding factor. But going forward with Coach Saban, I think he's going to take over the reins a little bit like he always does when it's crunch time. And I think his play calling ability and just his connection to the players itself is going to – I think that we'll see the guys in the playoffs. They'll make a run for the title again.
He is Mike McCoy, ladies and gentlemen, founder of Maximum Performance Institute out of Bessemer, also former Alabama receiver from 2006 to 09, one of the dogs on that 09 championship team, helping us out here on the show. Be sure to check out Maximum Performance Institute. Mike will get you right if you're trying to be into getting that workout in. Mike, as always, man, do your thing, man. Be good. Appreciate you, man. Take care of yourself.
All right, man. Holding the road, man. God bless.
Absolutely. Mike McCoy keeping it the way it is. So we brought him on here, keeping it the way it is in terms of Alabama and what adjustments need to be made here moving forward as it tries to make this push for a national championship. But we're going to go to a break right here, folks, on the show. When we get back, we return to those phone lines to get your interactions, your phone calls. We'll be back after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith. Brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit weownthefourthquarter.com now to get your 4-finger bling necklace.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Marvin Constant, All-SEC linebacker and 1999 SEC champion. You are listening to In My Own Words, brought to you by Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Roll Tide.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters.
Look at all these great players in Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Man, wait till I turn up this year. I'm going to be on the front cover. But what if Will goes off? Or Joe, DeMarco, Chris, Tim, Christian.
Don't wait. Order now at touchdownalabama.com or call 833-483-2624 today.
Christian.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
We are back in from the break here on the show, number one show for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. We got to pass that collection plate around to my man Mike McCoy with that fire sermon and the interview in the previous topic right there. Appreciate Mike McCoy, founder of Maximum Performance Institute, former Alabama receiver. Got to shout out my man Senator Hines with that $5 donation, helping us out there in the Super Chat, showing us love on the show. For daily Super Chat gold, people, $75 daily super chat going. Appreciate the love and support from you. We go back to the phone lines to take your calls. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. Number to call in right there, 205-448-1358. We grab a call here. You're live on the show on a Monday. What's going on? How you feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hi, Stephen. Bill from New York.
My man, Bill, what's going on?
A few things I want to get off my chest. First of all, like I hear these announcers, and they're always talking about the Bryce Young is afraid to run, and he doesn't like to run, and that's nonsense. I believe he's coached not to run. I'm not even sure I disagree with it because, like last year, he was our backup. If Matt got hurt, this great kid was our backup. And the way this team looks now, I don't know how they would look with a backup quarterback. I really don't. Now, the game itself, Bryce missed some throws. Billingsley and Mechie didn't impress me all that much. The right tackle play was simply atrocious. But here's my thing. Where's Marone? Everybody's talking about O'Brien. Where's Marone to put in Latham? Or this Brock and Mike, I don't care who you put in. How much worse are you going to do than Owens played? He played really horrible. Now, our linebackers injured, and to me, just my opinion, that includes Will Anderson. I saw him handled by a freshman a couple of times. He's the best defensive player, in my opinion, in the NCAA. The only way I would believe he's not injured, Jesus Christ would have to come down to earth and tell me, no, Bill, the man's healthy. No, I believe he's hurt, but they still have 5 stars in back of him. I don't understand why Golden can't make use of these kids. They're monsters. You see these guys. They have all the talent. But after all that complaining, let me just say this. I have 3 shirts and all that say that we're the 2020 national champions. And that's what we are. We're the Crimson Tide. We can come back. But we really, really have to get it together. And by the way, the previous calls were the best calls I ever heard in this show, including Mike. And your intro was great. Thanks again, Stephen. You're doing such a good job, man.
Appreciate the call. My man Bill from New York giving his thoughts here on the show. Bill, definitely a favorite of the show. We continue with the calls right now. You are live on the show here on a Monday. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, I'm David from Mobile. Not feeling great. I'm guilty of it. You were guilty of it. Every media person in the state of Alabama was guilty of saying Alabama's got 9 starters back on defense. The defense is going to carry the team. Will Anderson's unblockable. They have a great secondary. Saban's a great secondary coach. And the defense, quite frankly, has, other than the first half of the Ole Miss game, has kind of stunk it up all year. Especially, they played fairly decent in the third quarter Saturday night, but in the fourth quarter, after we took the 38-31 lead with the 2-point conversion, the defense totally collapsed again. Excuse me. And Texas A&M scored 10 unanswered points, and they weren't off of turnovers. The last pass they throwed should have been picked off, but our guy didn't even see it. He was too busy pulling on the wide receiver and got him an automatic first down for pass interference. Had he turned around, he'd have intercepted the damn ball. So the defense has been a very big disappointment, and I don't think it's coaching. I think it's effort from the players, execution, like the one other caller said. It's all about execution. I ain't seeing it. Thank you.
Appreciate David from Davis from Mobile there with his thoughts there on the team and what he feels like the problem was against Texas A&M. We continue with the phone lines right here. We grab this call. You are live on the show. What's going on? How you feeling? State your name. Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Tobias calling from Fresno, man.
What's going on, my man? What's going on, Tobias? What's up with you?
Man, listen. This weekend was a doozy. That Alabama game, it's what we didn't want to happen. But Steve, some of us have been pointing out little things for weeks. And so I do think there is like a different perspective from players and just fans. And I appreciate Mike's call and Senator and just everyone who has called today. But I would like to bring a couple of things to everyone's attention. First of all, I don't know why we don't like to listen to Saban. Listen to what Saban has been saying all year. Steve, you know this because you sit in the conferences. By the way, man, I so appreciate everything you do on those conferences, man, those press conferences. Your questions are always excellent. It gets Saban jazzed up. But anyway, if you listen to what Saban has been saying, he's been saying everything that everyone on these calls have been complaining about. He's always going to back his players. That's why players love him, because even though he's going to coach you hard, he's going to love you. You know, and my former coach was his former coach, so they have the same style. But I'll say this. When it was time to make a move after that Washington game a few years ago, Saban shifted Kiffin out of there early. And by the way, I believe that might have cost us that championship. But Saban not going to play around. So for anybody who's feeling like he's twiddling his fingers back there and he's not making a shift quick enough, he knows what we don't know. So let me say that. When it came time to move Jalen off and bring Tua on, he did it. When it came time to do an onside kick, he did it. So this is not somebody who's not going to make a decision for the best interest of the team and players. So we can stop all of that. I heard some of that coming out of some of the calls. What we should know is that I think these kids have put Saban in a very bad position. And that is, he probably wants to put in Kool-Aid. He probably wants to put in Ajay Hall. He probably wants to put in some of the younger players. But he said in conferences that apparently some kids aren't doing what they need to do in practice and in school and just taking care of their business. Now, Stephen, you know that's a fact, that he said that. So if that's the case, now I can't even put somebody in there who's going to make you do the things you need to do. And that's a very bad combination. It's not about everyone 5-star, 5-star, 5-star. It's about dogs. And Mike just said it. I said it last week. I said, Steve, there ain't no dogs. Nasty. You gotta smell blood in the water. And if you don't have that mentality, I don't care what team you play on, it ain't gonna work for you. This is the SEC, and anybody can get beat. Most anybody can get beat any week. So we need to check that. With Golden, man, Senator, you my bro, I agree with you that, hey, you ought to be able to execute, because ain't no defensive calls not covering everybody. So you got to execute it. I would say, though, I look at the linebackers and I raise an eyebrow, because this tall, and everybody was tall coming. And I was wondering what was wrong with Moody. But I assume the coaches know best. They saw something. But it's not panning out. He missing his lane. He missing tackles. And I hate it because he's a kid. So, I like the other caller. I normally don't like to bring up the names and all this kind of stuff, but it's bad. Here's another thing, Steve, and I'll get off the call. I'm sorry, I went a little too long. But Mechie, I feel bad for the kid. I heard Saban in the conference today. He didn't want to throw the kid under the bus. He said something kind of nice. Well, he's been dealing with a little injury, but he knows he's not a number one. Williams, he is fast. He can be electric, but he don't block, y'all. I don't mean no harm. I really don't. He don't block. None of our little screens, none of our little flies work because they don't block like the previous teams did. Now, DJ Dale being the player of the week, wow, that's deep to me. Because I went back and watched the film probably like Senator and Coach and all the rest of them. I watched it over and over. Our D linemen, other than Darius Mathis, they were on roller skates. Ekior, he was just kind of spinning around. So there's something happening with the buy-in. Man, Mike was on it. The buy-in to the scheme, buy-in to the plays and execution, and then the dog mentality. Steve, I said enough. When I get off, you know I'm a super chat you. You're the best in the business, man. I appreciate you. I love all the other shows, but I love your show, man. You have so much energy. And if our team can pick up a little bit of your energy, we will run the table, people. It ain't over. I was tripping off of people acting like the sky is just absolutely falling. It was a game that was lost. It was barely lost. We were up 38-31. We should not have lost the game, but we did. Now we got to beat Mississippi State. You got to beat Tennessee, who's rolling right now. You get a little break. LSU, who still has 5 and 4 stars on that team. We got to beat them. Then you got your weak game, Arkansas, and then Auburn, which is a mess down there, so we can't lose to them. But if we get in the SEC championship, Steve, the dogs that are on that Georgia team, and that's what I meant to say, when you have super seniors, and all of that, because Alabama ain't got no super seniors, no 25-year-old men running around. So a lot of these teams are better this year because they got all the super seniors. I'm still betting on my Bama. Roll Tide.
Appreciate the call there from Tobias Brookins right there, giving his thoughts there on the game on last week, what Alabama needs to do moving forward, and my energy comes from everywhere. It comes from a whole bunch of places, but we continue the call line. Pick up a call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How you feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Spencer Reevely from Lafayette, Georgia, sir.
Spencer, what's going on with you?
Well, I got a lot I want to say, but time's short, so I'm just going to do like I train my guys at work. I'm going straight to P1, which means priority number 1. And this is a question for you. Have you heard of any player-only meetings this week?
Any player only? I have not, but there should be one, Spencer. There should be one. If there becomes one, I may hear about it tomorrow because the players also speak on Tuesday. So if there's one, then I will be sure to get that out there.
Well, I appreciate that because what I'm saying in priority number 1 is I see no leaders on the field. I don't even see them on the sideline getting in each other's face and pumping each other up and doing all that. I don't see that. It's like they're sitting on the sideline looking at, all right, what contract am I signing next, like the NIL? I don't know if that has something to do with it or not, but we need to have some leaders on the field. We don't have none. I have not seen none all year.
Absolutely. Appreciate that thought from my man Spencer Reevely out of Georgia. Once again, the players will speak again on Tuesday. If there is a players meeting, I will get information on that. We take a call here. You're live on the show. What's going on tonight? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Yeah, this is Coach Brian Mabry calling from Atlanta, Georgia.
What's going on tonight?
Man, things are going well, man. Hey, you've had some great calls tonight making some really incredible points. One of the things I want to share with you is that we always don't want to blame the coaches, but as a coach, it's our job to put the best personnel on the field. As you know, all year I've been crying bloody murder about the fact that the Moody kid who came out of spring, who had an incredible spring game, needed to get some PT. I don't know what's going on with that, but obviously it's not happened. Now, I know Todd came over, and I'm not here to call a kid out personally because I don't think that's the right thing to do, but he came over with all the accolades in the world. But let's get real. Let's have a real conversation. When you watch that film, okay, this ain't Tennessee. This is Alabama. When you play at Tennessee, it's a low-leverage game. Every game you play at Alabama is a high-leverage game where people are going to bring their A game 1,000% of the time. What I don't quite understand is that when you watch the film, which I've watched many times, it's very obvious that he's not getting downhill and being physical at the point of attack, nor a lot of our guys. My question would be is if we've had all these issues in the past, why as a coach are we not reevaluating the personnel, looking at what they're doing and making sure that we get the right people on the field? Because when we came out of spring, Stephen, this defense was incredible. We were flying around doing the things we need to do. My personal opinion on this, and I'm a little bit edge, is that on this particular case, it's more politics than process. Now, we're going to be process-oriented, and we tell kids they got to come in here, wait their time, and do it the Alabama way. We can't just bring somebody in and then when they being an epic failure right now, not allow that kid to play. I don't know how you feel about that, but give me your word. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Good call right there. Good call right there. Great points right there. You got to put the best players on the field. And Coach Saban's always talked about it. I'm about putting the best athletes on the field. Well, if you're about doing that, the best athletes need to see the field. I don't care if they're 5. I don't care if they're a 2-star. I don't care if they're a walk-on. If the walk-on is the best player on the field, put Rudy out there then. Put the walk-on on the field if he's the best player on the field. We got to shout out my man Gucci Todd with that $5 donation, helping us out here on the show. Appreciate the love from him. As always, people that daily Super Chat Go, $75 daily Super Chat Go, and appreciate the love from all of you. But going to go to a quick topic here before the break. The Alabama-Tennessee game, the time and network has been announced for this matchup. Alabama and Tennessee will be on October 23rd. That will be 6 p.m. Central Time, ESPN. ESPN will have the call on Bama, Tennessee at 6 p.m. Central Time. So back-to-back matchups on ESPN. Back-to-back matchups on ESPN. We can look at Tennessee. We look at Mississippi State first this week, and then you got Tennessee next week. So ESPN getting some Bama loving here for the SEC back-to-back weeks. But we're going to go to a break here. When we come back, we return to the call lines, to the phone lines, take your calls, your thoughts, entertain you guys. Hold through. We're coming back after this.
Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full-year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
Back to the action here, folks. Back in from the break of the #1 forum for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. We're jumping back to the phone lines to grab more calls. 205-448-1358. The number to call in, 205-448-1358. We grab this call here. You're live on the show on a Monday. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Yes, William Bryan up here in Denison, Iowa. What's going on there, Steven?
Will, doing good, man. Doing good. It hurts to see, Alabama not get that win over the weekend. But if there's one thing, if there's one thing we all know, 6 of Saban's 6 national championships with the Tide, 4 of them have come with teams that had at least one loss. So, that one loss, it humbles you, but it makes you very sensitive about, am I doing what I need to do to play winning football?
I totally agree with you. I really hope they get it together. Spencer touched on a little bit too, that these players are getting paid now for their image being used and stuff. I think that kind of ruined them. That's just my opinion. I don't know if I was Coach Saban, I'd let some of these other guys in that's not doing that, that's not getting it, and say, if you want to show me something, then you get in there and show that, hey, I can do this here for nothing because I've got the eye of the tiger. I want to win. I don't want to be all mamby-pamby because I'm getting paid for my image being used. I could care less about that. I want a team that's got the fight in them, that wants to go out there and say, hey, but you ain't getting past me. You ain't going to get to our quarterback. You ain't even going to get to him. And then the opposite turn around, I'm going to get to your quarterback for damn sure. I'm going to make sure of it. And that's what we need. Tobias, I think he touched on that some. We need, and Mike, we need that kind of defense there, that they'd be fucking trembling in their boots there, that we're up there on the line, just hungry, waiting to get to them, And
Absolutely.
That's just my thought. So.
Absolutely.
Anyway, roll tide.
Absolutely. Appreciate William Bryant there for that call. You need nastiness. You need hunger. You need you need it's a want to. You got to have that want to be out there and be great and play defense and have that hunger, not just on the field, but when you see your brother not having that hunger, get in your brother's face, pump your brother up, challenge your teammate. And if that teammate still ain't doing it, find somebody else that's going to do it. I understand P. Diddy said it's a hard job, but Puff Daddy also said somebody got to do it. So who going to do it here for Crimson Tide football? We grab a call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Dwight from Ohio.
What's on your mind right now, Dwight?
I just want to say to all the Alabama fans, we need to calm down. This ain't a PlayStation game. We've been winning so much, we got the sweet tooth.
I can see that.
Let the players play. Stop trying to find coaches. Everybody calm down and regroup. We okay. This is not PlayStation. Be real players and humans.
Gotcha.
And be patient. That's all I have to say today.
Appreciate that coming from my man Dwight, giving the word. Players, not PlayStations. Guys that trying to get out there doing the best they can out there in the field. Appreciate that call there from Dwight. We take another call now. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name. Where you calling from tonight?
Tide Man calling in from Jackson, Mississippi. How you doing,
Tide
brother?
Man, what's going on, brother?
I'm doing well. Listen, man, if you ever get out of the broadcasting business, go into the preaching business, man, because you laid it out and hammered it home with your opening comments, man. All I can do is say amen to that. And I tell you what, the Alabama fan base is the most intelligent fan base in all of sports. I mean, these calls tonight, there's not been a single thing that any caller has said that I have disagreed with. Senator really made some great points. Great interview with Mike McCoy. The fellow from checked in from California. I can't remember his name, but man, he was really making some great points. Everybody, great points. And my main thing I want to focus on, not to take up too much time, so I'll just focus on one thing: the offensive line. Bottom line, let's be honest, we're just not elite. We do not have an elite offensive line. We've probably got one elite offensive lineman, Evan Neal. Everybody else, I don't know where they came in ranked, but they're just certainly not playing like elite offensive linemen. And I'm not trying to knock them. I'm just saying they just quite possibly may not be as physically gifted as we've had in the past. And I've always said the most underrated position in football, and you tell me what you think about this when I hang up, but I've always said the most underrated position in football is the center position. And when you look back over the past 10 or 12 years, we've had Barrett Jones, Ryan Kelly, Landon Dickerson. We have had elite, not only elite talent, but we've had dogs. People keep up bringing that up, that dog, that fight, that leadership, get in people's face and bring everybody together and say, this ain't going to happen. We just don't have that this year. And I'm not trying to knock Darian Dalcourt. I'm not picking on him. He's just part of the whole problem on the offensive line. But let's be honest, we just don't have. We've been spoiled. Like the last guy said, we've been spoiled, for years. And at the center position, we've been especially spoiled. And I think this year it's showing. And I wanted to ask you, too, somebody else mentioned about Kool-Aid McKinstry. And he made a great point. We don't know what Saban knows. I'm sitting there thinking, why don't we have Ryan Kool-Aid out there? But there are things going on, in practice, off the field that we don't know about. Only Nick Saban, he's the GOAT. And the GOAT knows what's going on and who to put in and who not to put in. And that's why I'm not fire Pete Golding as much as that's my instinct as just a novice fan. My gut reaction is like, get rid of Pete Golding. I mean, I get it. But Nick Saban, he knows football better than I do. he's going to get rid of who he needs to get rid of and keep who he needs to keep. So I think it's kind of a combination between – I don't want to say it's a lack of effort on our players, but I do want to say that. I think our guys are going out there, giving it their all, but we just might not be as good this year talent-wise as we've been in the past. We might lack some maturity. We might just not have the football IQ that needs to be coached up. It's going to take a little bit of time. That's hard for us as Alabama fans to accept, but maybe that's just where we are this year. Anyway, look, I'm going to remain optimistic and hope for the best and hope we get all this stuff corrected. But sometimes five-star talent doesn't always come with five-star character. And that's another thing to remember, too. You know, five-star talent does not always come with five-star character. And we've been spoiled in the character regard, too. We've had incredible gifted athletes who also have incredible work ethic, incredible football IQ, and all the rest of it. But we'll see what goes on. Roll Tide, you're the best in the business, brother. Talk to you later.
Appreciate that call there from Todd, man, my man out of Jackson, Mississippi, giving his thoughts there on Alabama football. We continue with calls here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from tonight.
My name is Craig, and I'm calling from Jacksonville, Florida. How you doing tonight, man?
Doing great, Craig, and yourself?
Doing pretty well. Just wanted to call in and just reiterate, you know, what I've heard a couple other callers say. One, the sky is not falling. You know, it seems like as soon as a loss comes into place, we get a lot of people that start freaking out. We've heard it over the years past about the dynasty being dead. But, you know, last time I checked, Nick Saban's still the coach. Talking about a man that's won 6 titles there while he's been there. Arguably the best of all time. Actually, there is no argument in that. But one thing that last year's team had that this year's team does not have is the leadership. We are missing the leadership. You know, and you learn that by going through the wars. And I thought the Florida game, as tough as it was to watch, seeing that defense get smacked in the mouth, you know, was what the team needed. And honestly, I think this L is what the team needs, because I feel like a lot of these guys, as young as they are and as much as we lost on the offensive side, they really haven't been through the fire yet. And sometimes that's what it takes, you know, is to go through that fire and get a taste of what it's like not to win every game. And as Bama fans, you know, we hate to see that. We are used to winning. We get spoiled with that. Saban has definitely spoiled us. But at the end of the day, you got to go through things to grow. And I believe this is just going to be a stepping stone in the right direction, you know, and it's going to forge some leaders out of this process. And as Saban says, I believe it's just a matter of time for them to step up and finish. And we're going to find out the mettle of this team when it's all said and done. And I think it's going to start this coming Saturday down in Starkville. We'll find out what they're made of after they got smacked in the mouth again this past weekend. But that's all I've got to say, man. I hope you have a great night, and Roll Tide.
Appreciate the call there from Craig out of Jacksonville, Florida, giving us his thoughts here on the show. Really good call there from Craig. We got some super chats to get to right now before we continue with calls. So right now, John, get that horn ready as my man Bill from New York has returned with a $5 donation. Appreciate that love from Bill. And now, is that Tobias Brookins? That is Tobias Brookins with that 20-piece, $20 donation. The love from him. My man Waylon Colburn, the president of the club here at the Blue Inch Gang. Waylon with that $9.99. And Spencer Reveley with that $5 donation. You know what that means, people. The daily super chat goal of $75 has been met. Also, Eric Thomas, can't forget him. That $5 donation from Eric Thomas. Now, the daily super chat goal of $75 has been met. Appreciate the love from all of you. We jump back now into the phone lines. We grab a call here. You are live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name, where you calling from.
Steve, what's up with you, man? This is Jay from Sheffield.
My man Jay, what's going on with you, big dog?
Man, Steve, both my lines look horrible, dog. Offensive and defensive. They know they look bad, but I ain't calling to talk about no player because Forrest Gump said it best. Stupid is and stupid does. And that's Bill O'Brien. That was a horrible offensive game plan. Horrible. Man, why is you not running the ball, dude? You will sit back here and let Bryce pass for 50 times?
but only give B-Rob maybe 20 carries? Wardell maybe 5? Come on, man. B-Rob, Bill O'Brien, whatever his name is, he was never a top offensive coordinator or whatever when he was in the league. He had one good year, and that was under Tom Brady. Everybody great up under Tom Brady. So really, you can't even. It was horrible, man. It's so frustrating. It was just horrible, and people keep blaming the players. But if you go to work and your boss come in with an attitude, you gonna have an attitude too. If your boss come in and having a sucky day and making everybody else day suck, you gonna have a sucky day. You gonna have a sucky attitude, bro. Like, I'm sorry, Steve. I'm upset.
Let it out, Jay. Let it out. Nothing wrong with you with letting it out. Appreciate Jay from Sheffield, man. Let it out. This is what this show is for. You vent, you complain, you laugh, you cry, you make this your show here on YouTube. We grabbed this call. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you're calling from.
Norman Black from Homewood, Alabama. This is what I got to say. All right, so pretty much like last dude said with and this with the players and the coach. Bill O'Brien. All right, so y'all know when we was at the goal line and we was like maybe 5 or 4 yards from the end zone. We did, like, out of those whole plays, we did straight passing plays, and then it ended up being an interception. My thing was this. When we got to the goal line, why did Bill O'Brien have a game plan set for in that particular drive right there? He had all of those goal line attempts for pass plays. Not one time did he hand the ball up and let B-Rob do his thing up the middle. Like, I'm pretty sure y'all remember last week, week before last, when we played Ole Miss, what happened? We got right down at the goal line. What they did, fed the ball to Brian Robinson. He had a good 4 touchdowns up there on the line. Why are you passing the ball on the goal line? Not one time did he run the ball. And then another problem was I felt like O-line, but I understand, like, Texas A&M, they was bringing the blitzes on Bryce Young, so it was really nothing that, they could do. And we all seen the other play where they brought the blitz, and, B-Rob, he did his thing. He threw one of them off, and he was able to get the pass off. Another thing, I think Bryce Young had a bad night too, because passes I felt that he could have made, he was overthrowing, and then you got the wide receivers dropping wide open balls, and then not only that, on the defensive end, on defense part, we let them get 2 wide open touchdowns, and nobody was guarding them. We let them get 2 wide open touchdowns, and I felt like after halftime, like how we seen in the national championship when Georgia was playing Alabama, how Nick Saban did the quarterback switch up, then dropped Jalen, subbed into it. What happened? Bama won the national championship. I felt like Bryce Young at the halftime. I felt like they could have gave someone else at the quarterback, like Jalen Milroe. I think Jalen Milroe could have, if you was going to swap him out, you could have did Bryce Young, and then you could have put Jalen in. We all know what Jalen Milroe can do. We all know he can play. And why not just, did the quarterback swap, man? It was no change. It was no change in the plays that we did. We did some of the same plays over again. We missed some big passes that could have been for a touchdown drive. We missed some runs that we could have got in for a touchdown. Defense, I felt like, everybody's so worried about, pressuring the quarterback that you forget you got wide receivers. They got experienced wide receivers just like we do. you know, and we let two big plays go to, you know, wide receivers being open. You know, just need more leadership out there. You know what I'm saying? Hearing to all, you know, you got Will Anderson out there, you know, it's all about everybody doing their job. And when everybody do their job, then everything is done, you know, as everybody has done their part. And, you know, that makes the day go by successful. Everybody has done their job.
Absolutely. My man right there from Homewood getting his thoughts in on the show. Now, going back to his thoughts on Bryce Young, I thought Bryce actually did a pretty good job in the game. Yes, he had some missed throws and some throws he would have loved to have back, but at the same time, when the moment got tough, Bryce actually stepped up and made some big throws. He had a 29-yard touchdown pass to Jamison Williams, had another touchdown pass to Jamison Williams. He made some big plays out there. So not going to put that, you know, on Bryce. Absolutely not going to put that on Bryce. We go to our next call here. You're live on the show tonight. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name. Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Chris Elliott. I'm out here in Bentonville, Arkansas.
What's
from
going on,
Decatur,
Chris?
Alabama, but hey, nothing much. I just want to talk about the defense and the offense of the Alabama. I just felt like we just lacked identity. We didn't know what was there. I saw Texas A&M when they threw the blitzes at us. We just didn't know where they were coming from. But defense this year, you just feel like we don't have that identity, and it just feels like when we blitz, it's all predetermined, and defense and offense can see it coming from a mile away. So I'm not sure what we can do about that. Not to mention we're also missing our starting cornerback this week. With the targeting call, which I disagreed with in the first quarter, they put a dent on us, and also missing Drew Sanders, who was also a backup of Chris Allen, which is, you know, a big hit for us this year. So I really can't speak much on the identity, but I would like to know what you think about that. And I hear a lot of people talking about O'Brien, but I really don't know if it's his fault. You know, Saban he got to take accountability too. You know, I've been an Alabama fan for 30 plus years, and I just feel like at this point in time, this is the time where Saban has to take accountability, and he has to understand that, hey, when we throw the ball that many times in the red zone, it's at some point in time, just like you did over the last 10 years, you have to step in and you got to make the decision. That's why you get paid millions of dollars every year to make those high-level decisions. I also would like to know why Trey Sanders is not getting any touches. You the man, and I know you get a lot of communication from internally, so perhaps you can shed some light on that. But Trey Sanders has not seen the ball at all. He's one of our prolific 5-stars. Deion Sanders' nephew, right? I might be wrong, but Deion Sanders' nephew is not touching the ball right now. It's crazy to me. The sky is falling for Alabama. I don't see Alabama being competitive at a high Georgia level until roughly 1 to 2 years. You know, it takes time to let those classes mature. Even the kickoff team looks slouchy. We used to fly down the field. I know y'all see it. Even when we fly down the field now, it's not there. We're usually the first people to come down, and now people are returning kicks, and they're not afraid of us anymore. So perhaps you can shed some light on that, man. I'm just listening to you. I enjoy your show and enjoy everything you do for us, and I appreciate everything, but it's still Roll Tide to the end.
Appreciate that call right there. Just you got to get Trey Sanders out there. Saban has talked about wanting to get him opportunities. I don't know when those are going to come, but you got to get Trey Sanders out there. For the defense and special teams, Mike McCoy said it during the interview. Who has the energy? Who has the enthusiasm? Where is the dog toughness, attacking mentality in terms of execution? The moment you find that, the moment that the situation improves and gets better. We grab this call here. You are live on the show. What's going on? How are you feeling? State your name. Where you calling from?
Hey, how are you? I'm Kim. I'm calling from Hueytown, Alabama. And
all right.
I'm a big Alabama fan, so I'm a ride with Bama no matter what. And you know they've been in this situation before. The thing is, me and my husband went to the game when they opened up with Miami. So it was things that I saw, even though Bama was playing good against Miami, and Miami didn't even show up like I thought they was. But it was things that I saw Bama was making little simple mistakes. that, you think you would tweak by now getting ready to play Texas A&M. And I said to myself, well, if they don't fix this, you got a long road ahead of you. And you still got other teams that you have to play in the SEC. And these teams, they're going to come with their elite when they playing Bama. For some reason, everybody stepped their game up when they have to play Bama. So go back to when Nick did that press conference. It was either right before Mercer or right after Mercer. He flat out said they got leadership problems. So you got some issues going down there with some of the players. I ain't blaming offense. I ain't blaming defense. I feel like as a whole, coaching, play calling, players themselves played a part in Bama losing. When we was looking at the game, I flat out said, ain't no way you can play catch up when you looking at how Texas A&M was playing. It was things like you running the ball. So when you get right down at the end zone, why you ain't running the ball again? So I just feel like moving forward, Bama has been in this spot before, but moving forward, if those guys don't wake up, if the coaches don't wake up, yeah, you gonna see yourself. Look how Auburn played against Georgia. Guarantee you going down there to Jordan Hare, ain't no telling how they finna bring their A game when they play Bama. That's what the players' mentality have to be. Everybody, no matter how they look, who they played before they play you, they finna step their game up because of you. Because you're the number one thing. Every single year, Bama has a target on its back. And it's like the players that we have had in the past realized it. It's like the players this year, you may have a few that realize it. All of them need to realize it. Because every single team that you going up against always try to bring their A game because of who Alabama is and because of what Nick Saban and built. So I'm not blaming offense and I ain't blaming defense, but I did see mistakes made on both the coaches as well as the players. Because if you're supposed to be an elite player, you're supposed to know how to handle yourself out there on the field. If you're a dual threat quarterback, you're supposed to know how to handle yourself. If that's what I'm getting told that you are. So that's all I got to say. But I'm still going to ride with the Tide no matter what.
Appreciate Kim from Hueytown with those points right there. We continue with the call. You guys rolling them in tonight with the punches. We take this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name. Where you calling from?
Hello.
You're live on the show. What's going on?
Yeah, Robert calling from Pooler, Georgia. I just got 3 things to say. It all starts up front.
Absolutely.
Play with an attitude and roll a quarterback out. Thank you.
Appreciate the call right there from my man Robert there. We go to this next call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? State your name and where you calling from.
Hi, Stephen. This is Amber calling from Alabama.
What's on your mind tonight, Amber?
Well, I'm one of those fans that was kind of freaking out during the game, but it's kind of like I believe a lot of the fans as well as the team itself, we kind of overlooked Texas A&M. We did not expect them to be that much of a challenge. I believe that there was more energy put into preparation for the Ole Miss game. I believe the players played with more intensity when we played Ole Miss versus when we played Texas A&M. It was Coach Saban said it himself, like this is going to be a trap game, and it was. He was absolutely right.
He was. I mean, absolutely, Amber. He said it, and for some reason, we did not take heed to what was being said. We appreciate Amber for that call right there. Amber calling in from Alabama. We got my man BG. BG with that 35. Is that 35? BG with that $35 donation in the Super Chats. Appreciate the love from BG helping us out here on the show. Let's see here. Striving to be set apart. We got striving to be set apart with that $5 donation every everybody showing us love here. Appreciate all the calls, all the interaction, all the conversation. Give yourselves a hand for making this your show, whether it's you calling in, you venting, you making your voice heard, and that's what this show is about, talking Crimson Tide football. We're going to go to a break right now, people. When we get back, we finally wrap things up with my opinion on some changes that need to be considered moving forward for Alabama. We wrap it up after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
People, I'm so pumped up right now as we're back in from the break. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And the reason why I'm pumped up, we had 35 callers. I mean, you guys, awesome today. 35 callers as a family. A tremendous job by us. You letting your voices be heard. You ringing the phone lines. You are not being afraid to show your passion, your pride in you being a Crimson Tide football fan and you ringing those phone lines. We definitely enjoyed that here on the show. It most definitely makes my job easier. That is for certain. But before we wrap up and tidy up some loose ends here on the show, got to remind you of TDAwear.com. That is TDAwear.com. So for all of you fans still overjoyed with the Crimson Tide's national championship from the 2020 campaign, we want you to check out our championship collection merch. Now this means you grab you an 18 of them things, folk, hoodie, t-shirt, or sweatshirt, as well as our Got 18 We Do shirts, designs that feature all 18 championship years on the back. You head on over to TDAwear.com. Do that right now. TDAwear.com. You go over Championship Collections merch tab, and you get you that gear today, showing that support for Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. But now, as we tidy up loose ends here, my thoughts on some changes that need to be considered for Alabama moving forward in terms of trying to defend that crown as national champions. I mentioned back earlier in the show, the loss dropped Alabama 4 spots in the polls. They dropped from 1 to 5. So the chance to be a national champion is still there. The chance to defend the national title crown is still there. But it has to win out the remainder of its regular season schedule, that being Alabama, starting off this week with Mississippi State. But of course, get to the SEC championship game where it would take on Georgia, and that would be a daunting task right there, especially if Georgia continues to win, which I believe it more than likely will. And then things would go forth from there. But necessary changes that need to be considered, first and foremost, when you look at Pete Golding, the defensive coordinator, and we've had some great calls today. Some talking about Coach Golding, some saying it's not Golding's fault, it's execution by the players, it's playmaking ability by the players. The players have to do their job, and absolutely, I agree with that. But with me, it's sometimes players take their cues from the coordinator, and that's older guys as well as younger guys. So if your coordinator has that mentality of defense is important to me, we're going to dominate on that side of the ball, We are going to tear up the opposing team. We are going to make sure that this happens, and they have that energy to do so, and they are emotionally, physically, psychologically, mentally vetted on the defensive side of the ball. Then those players are going to feed off that energy. The players are going to ride off that mindset. The players are going to rally behind that particular, coach and coordinator. And if that coordinator does not have that mindset, then you have that perspective as well. So something has to happen moving forward in terms of Coach Golding. Something has to, because it just doesn't feel right when you have other programs out there being dominant defensively, right? And for the longest of time, that has been one of the foundations, going back to that word, foundation, staples of Alabama football. We hang hat on defense. Nobody can run it on defense. Nobody can, score a whole bunch of points on this defense. It's been the staple. It's been the foundation of this program for so long. And it's just not right going from being the top of the top to now being near the bottom of the bottom. When you look at, folks, Texas A&M took the backup quarterback and beat Alabama. It took their number 2, not their number 1. Took their number 2 and beat Alabama. Took two 18-year-old babies, 2 freshmen on their offensive line, and they're moving defensive linemen around with 2 babies up front. So you got to have that attacking mindset, that attacking style from a defensive coordinator perspective. We know that Saban is a class coach. He's a class act. He is not going to do away with Golding in the middle of the season. That's just not how Coach Saban rolls. But what I think should happen is I look at 2 guys. I look at Charles Kelly and I look at Freddie Roach. One of these 2 moving forward needs to take more of the responsibility, putting the defense together, strategizing the defense, cutting up the game tape, putting the game film and playing together. One of these 2 needs to step up and take more of his job. When you look at Charles Kelly, 54 years of age. He's a native of the state of Alabama, a guy that has been a D coordinator at marquee programs, i.e. Florida State. He was at Florida State from 2013 to 2017 as a DC and linebackers coach. Those defenses at that point in time giving up an average 20.3 points per game, probably even lower than that. That 2013 Florida State team that won a national championship gave up 12.1 points per game. This was a defense under Kelly that totaled 154 sacks, including 51 in 2016. This is a team that had 72 interceptions during that time period, including 9 for touchdowns. A team that forced 53 fumbles at that time. And when you look at guys like DeMarcus Walker, Jalen Ramsey, Derwin James, Brian Burns, he put dudes. Kelly put dudes. Kelly put dudes in the NFL. So Charles Kelly, you definitely want to look at him. Coach Saban even mentioned at one point in time he was considering Kelly before making the move to Golding. If not Kelly, you got Freddie Roach, who's from this state, who played football at the University of Alabama, who coached for this program. He knows the ins and outs of this program, and it's nothing like having a guy that knows what it takes to be the best at a program, coach, or operate at that program. So either Charles Kelly or Freddie Roach, one of those 2 moving forward has got to take more responsibility of that defensive play calling. Another change that I think that needs to be considered at that inside linebacker position. Do you make this a duo role with Henry To'o and Jalen Moody, or do you give this completely over to Jalen Moody? Because To'o played in a simplified, dumbed-down version of the Alabama defense in Tennessee. You know those books where they have Driving for Dummies, Math for Dummies, Dating for Dummies, those books? Well, Henry To'o played in an overly simplified system at Tennessee, but he's having some problems with the complexities and the terminologies and just the intricacies of the Alabama defense. And he's lost out there. And even though Henry T may be an overall better athlete than Moody, Moody suits better here because Moody's been in the complexity of this program for 4 years. So in terms of him being able to make the calls, him getting guys in the right spots, him being the thumper that he is in the run game. Most importantly, Moody a 3-star dog. Like, Moody got that Rough Rider DMX, where the hood at mentality. That's Jalen Moody. Moody's got that type of mentality on the field. And you need to have that type of dude on the field getting these guys right. So do you have a dual role with To'o and Moody, or do you let it go straight Moody? That is a question there that needs to be addressed. Number 3 in the secondary, and that's, it's time to take DeMarco Hellams off free safety, put Brian Branch at that spot. When I think about free safeties, I think about Ed Reed, sideline to sideline, covering lower third of the field, being that center fielder, tracking the ball, being a human ball magnet, if you will, at free safety. To an Alabama degree, I think of guys like your Robert Lesters, your Mark Barons of the world, your Clinton Dixes, your Eddie Jacksons, your Minka Fitzpatricks, your Vinny Sinceris, if you want to put Vinny Sinceri in there, your Deontay Thompsons. Those guys that can play lower third, ball magnet, track the ball, make those types of plays. And Brian Branch, coming out of Sandy Creek High School in Tyrone, Georgia, made those types of plays. He left high school as Sandy Creek's all-time career leader for interceptions. Put that guy at free safety. He's not a star. He's a free safety. That's Brian Branch. And DeMarco Hellams, he was just a pure athlete in high school. He played everywhere. So he's still raw at that solely defensive back position. He loves to come down to make big hits, so he's more so fits the strong safety profile, but Hellams not starting there because Jordan Battle is starting there. So for me, it's Brian Branch. He is more of a free safety. He is a more natural free safety. That's the guy you got to put back there at that spot. Either him, either Christian Story, as some of you guys have mentioned in calls. Christian Story is pretty darn good himself, but got to get DeMarco Hellams off that free safety spot. That's the main thing. And so, last but not least here, and changes to be made on the offensive line. Love Chris Owens to death, but he is not it at right tackle. It's time to look at J.C. Latham. This guy came in 5-star, unbelievable ceiling, for a reason. We have seen a ton of freshmen start on the line for Coach Saban, whether that be Cyrus Kwanjo, Cam Robinson, Jedrick Wills, Jonah Williams, Evan Neal, Alex Leatherwood, you name it. We have seen freshmen come through here and start on that offensive line and be marquee contributors. And J.C. Latham at 6'6", 325 pounds from IMG Academy has that type of ceiling, has that type of nastiness and playmaking ability. You got to look at him. You got to look at, a Damian George maybe even a Pierce Quick. Chris Owens not it there at right tackle. Good dude, love the kid. But if you're trying to say playing winning football on the line, creating that protection for Bryce Young consistently, and also in that run game, at some point, you got to evaluate that position and look at more of J.C. Latham up front. But, folks, those are just my ideas. Will Saban take heed to them? Who knows? Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. But those are just my ideas in terms of changes that need to be at least considered implementing moving forward here for Crimson Tide football. But as always, Bama fans, you want the best in news, notes, information, and coverage on your favorite program, that being the Crimson Tide. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you got the Android phone. For your audio listening needs, we got you right here. iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Overcast.fm, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, iHeartRadio, got you covered right there. Also, Bama fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, have those sent to your door. That can be found in the description. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I will be back on Wednesday, continuing the topics that be Crimson Tide football Also, Tide Nation, if you're trying to get that fresh edition, print edition of TDA, the magazine, you go to touchdownalabama.com, you click join, be a member, a subscriber today. If you're also trying to get that four-finger bling necklace, four-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of weownthefourthquarter.com, that link in the description. But until next time, folks, husbands, love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children, you know what you got to do. School is in here, but do the right thing, fun thing, smart thing, legitimate thing to not be bored. You get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself. You protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks, holla at your boy, Stephen M. Smith. You've been listening to In My Own Words.